We're here with Sri Lanka's renowned elephant lover, and his unrelenting compassion towards these creatures is really an example for everyone. He has such passion to follow their behavior and study their patterns in hopes for conservation for their habitats and, to stop the human-elephant conflict in the area. And this is Dr. Sumith. And would you like to share with us a little bit about the project that you're working on now?
Well, I'm doing some elephant behavioral studies of the Minneriya population and the Yala elephant population. I'm trying to develop a database on visual and tactile communications of elephants in the hope that that knowledge will help the Wildlife Conservation Department in improving the quality of wildlife tourism, elephant viewing tourism, as well as if we can educate the local communities about understanding elephants and their behavior, particularly when you see elephants visually and their tactile behavior indicates to you what they are going to do next or something like that, it would help people coexist with elephants better.
Definitely.
That's more so what I've been working on.
Very yes. These two parks that you're monitoring now, it's Kaudula and Minneriya.
Yes.
And those are both, in the center of them are tanks, reservoirs,
yes.
Water reservoirs. So that's like the main area for elephants to come and graze and eat on the grasslands.
Yes.
Are any of those areas under threat by human habitation or farmland?
Well, there is a project that the government of Sri Lanka is planning, which would involve keeping Minneriya and Kaudula reservoirs both at spill level year-round. If they keep it at spill level, the water level will be high enough for the dams to spill. So if you keep it at that level year-round, about 70 to 85% of the grasslands that get exposed during the dry season will be submerged in water year-round, which reduces the available habitat for elephants, because the perception that many people have that elephants are coming to Minneriya Kaudula for water is only for water is incorrect. Water is important and they come there for water, but water is secondary. Such a congregation of 400 to 500 elephants gather in the Minneriya Kaudula lake beds largely for the grasslands, because for the fodder that they get. So by keeping the reservoirs at spill level, the long-term future of this elephant population is in jeopardy.
Yeah, sure thing. So their food and their sustenance depends on these recessional grasslands that, come with the weight of the monsoon season to full pool and then down again to the dry season when it leaves a little bit of the pool, but huge grasses and healthy grass for the elephant population. So the two areas he's talking about is actually the site of the Great Gathering in Sri Lanka. And that's where 500 elephants come together and to feed and feast on this, edible goodness that provides their sustenance for their life. So if these full pools, is there anything that you can think of that can prevent these pools from being at...
Well, first the government of Sri Lanka should really figure out why they are doing this whole project. Because the elephant gathering at Minneriya Kaudula is a huge tourist attraction to the country. Lonely Planet has identified the Minneriya Kaudula gathering as one of the 10 wildlife wonders of the world, and the only one in Sri Lanka. So it's a huge tourist attraction, and a back of the envelope calculation that has been done, the direct and indirect tourism revenue from the Minneriya Kaudula gathering of elephants is 1.25 billion rupees a year. No agricultural project will contribute anywhere close to this, to the economy. So this project doesn't make any sense from a conservation point of view. Neither does it make sense from an economic point of view. So it begs the question as to why in the world is the government of Sri Lanka trying to do this project? Because it doesn't, it's a lose-lose situation. Because the water will be used for agriculture. If you reduce elephants grazing on the grasslands, because the grasslands are submerged, the elephant population in that area will tend to go out into the same croplands that are being irrigated by the water that is being stored here and raid crops.
So further loss of habitat for those elephants.
Yes.
when elephants lose their land.
Exactly, and it doesn't even make agricultural sense because the farmers that are in this area who will be benefiting from the irrigation water will be facing huge human-elephant conflicts because elephants will be raiding crops because they have no other food to eat in that area because you have taken away 70 to 85% of the best grasslands that they have had due to this project.
And even the village has greatly benefited from this too. The number of hotels has gone up,
Exactly.
homestays, restaurants.
Yes.
I mean, the artists even have a more thriving market situation. So really, all of the villagers are really benefiting from this ethical tourism where foreigners are coming from all over the world to see the Great Gathering and to see elephants in their natural habitat in the wild.
Yes, because we have about 500 to 600 commercial safari jeeps operating in that area, catering to the elephant gathering. That means 500 to 600 families earn their livelihood due to tourists coming there. There is around 850 hotels and guest houses in the Habarana area, which is the city closest to Minneriya and Kaudulla. So that's so many hundreds or thousands of people, local people, getting economic benefits from tourism because of the gathering. Now, all this is going to be at risk by undertaking this project. And the problem I would rather talk first from the economic point of view because that's how decisions are made, to try to emphasize the fact that this project doesn't make economic sense. Because you will lose all this revenue, this jeep drivers' revenue, the hotels will and the guest houses will lose their revenue, tourists will stop coming to see the gathering because there will be no gathering. Because in the short term, these elephants will go and raid crops in the area.
Even the Department of Wildlife, the park entrance fee,
Yes,
correct?
yes, right. And will start losing revenue. And in the longer term, the elephants will adjust their population to the carrying capacity of this area, which will be about, you might have about 50 elephants in the Minneriya Kaudulla gathering 20 years from today, not the 400 to 500 that we see today. So it just doesn't make any sense because at least if you're sacrificing elephants and conservation of Sri Lanka for an economic benefit for people, not that I 100% agree with it, at least you can understand the rationale behind it. This doesn't even address the economic issues. It's a lose-lose situation for everybody. Unfortunately, it is political decision making that this type of decision is being made because of political decision making. And we from the conservation community still feel that there's still some hope to try to appeal to the decision makers and the politicians, and that rationality will prevail. That's what we are hoping, because if that doesn't happen, that is the end of the elephant gathering in this area, and that's the end of this elephant population in the long term.
And
it will really impact on the people in that area, because they will be faced with unbelievable human-elephant conflict, because these 400 to 500 elephants have to have a place to go and feed. And cropland will be their only alternative, because you have taken away the grasslands that they are feeding on today. And there is a misperception that elephants like primary forest. And if you have forest, that elephants will have enough land for them to survive. Studies have shown that in primary forest, the density of elephants is 0.2 elephants per square kilometer. Whereas in grasslands, it's 3 elephants per square kilometer. So we are taking away an area that can hold a large density of elephants by submerging it in water and trying to hope that they will go into forest land for survival, which they don't have enough fodder. So then they have no other alternative but to go to cropland. So crop raiding will increase, the human-elephant conflict will increase, people, the farmers in that area, their lives will be at risk, all because of some short-sighted policy of getting more votes. It's the way I look. And Sri Lanka, as it is, has the highest human-elephant conflict in the world. Not among the Asian elephant countries, but in the world. And this type of decision-making without the associated conservation development work that is necessary is going to increase the conflict and make it much worse. humans consider ourselves the most evolved species. But if we are the most evolved species, we should be understanding elephants and elephant behavior and doing our development work around elephants. Instead of doing that, we plan development projects without getting a comprehensive understanding of what's going on, and we are expecting elephants to work around us. And that has never worked.
Yeah, we're the ones coming in with the change. They haven't changed for thousands of years. They've been in the same watering holes and the same migration routes, and yet we come in and try to put our plans over top of them and then get pissed off when they come into our agriculture and come into our homes even.
Exactly. You see, the problem that we have in Sri Lanka is that, okay, I am a conservationist at heart, but I am also a realist. I know that this country has to develop. So development projects have to take place. And I don't believe that you have to sacrifice one for the other. If we plan better, we can have development plus ensure conservation of our species and our natural habitats exist. Unfortunately, this coexistence model doesn't work because we don't plan well. Most of our plans are short-sighted plans, only looking at the human point of view, or whenever we look at or study or analyze the wildlife point of view or the natural environmental point of view, implementation of mitigation measures gets very delayed or it is never done. So therefore, you even can't reap the full benefit of the economic potential of the development project that was planned because of the conflict situation that you have created by not taking care of one aspect, in this case the elephant welfare aspect of as a result of the Moragahakanda project. So this is a lesson for Sri Lankan decision makers and planners that we really need to take all aspects into account and actually address all aspects rather than take certain things into account and address only one aspect, which is the human development. We talk about sustainable development. Sustainable development is a balance between economics, social and environmental issues. So we from the conservation community is not saying that there should be no development in the country. All we are saying is let's come to a compromise where we balance this out so that there is a little bit for everybody, which is not what is taking place. Sri Lanka prides itself as the first developing country in the world that has a Ministry of Sustainable Development. I wonder what the Ministry of Sustainable Development has been doing all this time when this type of project is happening.
I noticed, I think they put their name on the plaque at the dam actually. It said this is for like biosphere sustainability. This project is, you know, tremendous in all of these big words showing what a great thing it is for the wildlife, when essentially it's killing the wildlife, and the promises that were made to were in alignment with this dam project have not been fulfilled, and these water reserves that were said to be restored have not been done, and it's pressing. We have this type of history on many projects. This is not the only one, and unfortunately we don't seem to learn from past mistakes. We will continue making it. The Minneriya Reservoir one is another mistake we are going to make, and we can see it happening. Once again, the decision makers are not paying adequate attention to it. Moragahakanda is a case in point where we have now seen the negative impacts of what has happened, the wildlife and the local environment. Well, I have not lost hope. I've been watching and following the Sri Lankan elephants since a kid, and it is really, it's like 40% of your island, correct? Is inhabited by elephants. So, that is an extraordinary thing to be able to manage if it's managed properly, to coexist with these creatures. So is there anything else you'd like to share about
Well, I totally agree with you that coexistence is where we should be aiming for. And we should be trying to understand elephants better and elephant ranging patterns better and try to work our development around it. Unfortunately, elephants don't vote and people do.
The world is looking. We're all looking. We're watching to see what is going to happen for the fate of these elephants at the Great Gathering. So Thank you so much for talking with us today.
You're most welcome.
Yes, thank you.